this video, I'll show you how to read QR code in desktop. Now, what is a QR code? QR code is a quick response code. Now, QR code are basically used to basically take the user to a specific website. So I'll give you an example. Now, QR code. So take for example in Edge. This is my website. Okay. So if I want to create a QR code, what I can do is like I can just do a right click and I can generate a QR code. So create QR code for this page. So this is the QR code for my page. Okay. Similarly, if I just search for sample QR code, you will see this kind of QR code. So you can generate a QR code as well as you can view the QR code provided by others. Now in a desktop, so if you want to view what is the underlying URL for it, how do you go about and do that? Because if you have a mobile device and if you scan the QR code and the QR code is either in a piece of paper or it is pasted somewhere in the wall, you can just take your mobile phone and then you can just scan it, right? But what happens when you are in a desktop application? Okay, how do we get the underlying URL? So for that, and this is like the use case which I have seen like in many of the meetings. When I'm attending the meetings, the presenter always presents a QR code and say that connect to this event or connect to my LinkedIn profile or so on and so forth. But how do we go ahead and use that QR code to go to the underlying URL? So I'll just demonstrate it with my website. So let me first create a QR code for this page. So I'm creating the QR code. Now I have an option to copy and download. So let me first download this QR code. Okay. So I'm just downloading this QR code and I'm opening this QR code. So this is how the QR code will look like. Okay. Now, what is the underlying URL for this? So if I want to do know what it is, so I have installed a tool in my Windows 11 machine uh, called as DevToys. Okay, so if you do not have that tool, you can install it from Microsoft Store, and then you can just search for DevToys with no space in it. Okay, now there are two versions, so DevToys and DevToys Preview. I will uh, install the preview version. I've already installed it, so I'll open this DevToys Preview tool. And once this tool opens, there are like a lot of other sub tools which you can see over here. But I'm much interested in the QR code. So if you want to know where the QR code tool is, it is under encoder decoder. So there is something called as QR code. Alternatively, you can also search. So if you just search for QR, it will give you the option and then you can go into the QR code encoder decoder. So this is the utility which will allow you to interpret the QR code. Now, the QR code which I have created is in my desktop. So I'll just go to browse files and I will go to, I believe it's in the download. So as you see over here, it's in the download. So I'll just select this. I'll click on open. The moment I open, you will see the output over here. So it has correctly identified that this particular QR code belongs to this URL, right? Now, there are other options. So as you see over here, you can, instead of browsing the files, you can even paste it. You need not even save that file, right? So how do we do that? So let me go into, say, one of the other page. So this page, okay. I'll just do a right click, create QR code for this page. And this time I'm not going to download it. I'm just going to copy it. So I'll just copy this and I will go into this uh, application and click on paste. Now, the moment I click on paste, as you see over here, it has correctly identified the QR code underlying URL. You can cancel this off. So if you do not want this, you can cancel this off. And say, let's take an example from net. Okay, so in if I go to internet, I'll see a lot of QR code listing over here. So let's pick up the QR code from Wikipedia. So I'll just right click, copy image, and then paste this. And as you see over here, this QR code belongs to this underlying URL. So you can verify, you can validate the underlying URL without even navigating to the URL using this tool. Now there are a lot of options over here. You can view, you can copy the QR code, you can even save this QR code. Okay. Now let me close everything. So now this there's a clean slate. Now what we have done, we have got a QR code and we have pasted the QR code over here, or we have browsed through the QR code with this sort of image extensions, and then it has given me the underlying URL. Now what if I want to do something else? Okay, So if I just start typing the URL, okay, so I'll just say https com/blog, it has generated the QR code. So technically what has happened, this tool basically can generate the QR code as well as interpret what is underlying URL within the QR code. So it can read the contents of the QR code as well. And QR code need not be a URL, it can be anything. So the underlying text, so if you see here, Gerashable is a power platform developer. Okay, so this is just an example. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this QR code and I will just save this. Okay, so I'll just call this as QR22 and I'll save as a SVG or PNG file. So I'll save it as an SVG file. Okay, QR22.svg. And now I'll just close everything from here. I will again navigate to this tool and then come here, go to browse files. And this time, as you see over here, there is no option for you to select from the SVG file, right? So you don't see that. So that means if you want to analyze what that QR code was, you need to either paste the content or save it in an image format. Okay. Now we have already created an SVG file. So I'll just again generate that Power Platform. Girish is a, so let me type in Girish is a Power Platform developer. Okay, so this is the QR code for that. So instead of saving as a SVG, you just save it as a PNG. Okay, so I'll just call it as PP22. Okay, now I'll just close all the things over here. This is a clean slate. Now I'll browse the file and PP22, and then as you see over here, the moment a QR code is presented, it has automatically interpreted what was underlying text. So it's a nice way to even give the content as well, because this QR code, if you scan it using your mobile phone, I'm not sure what will be the output, because now I have already scanned using my mobile phone, and it will give me the output as a note and not as a URL, So if you want to share some note with your colleagues or your participants, you can, use QR code. So QR code is not limited to the URL, it can store the underlying content. And then these all things can be interpreted or encoded and decoded using this tool. So make use of this tool, and do let me know of any feedback. Thanks for watching.